Hello, welcome to Lexicon HQ. I'm here with my colleague Justin. I'm David. Thanks for tuning in today. So we're here today to talk to you about storytelling. So storytelling is something you've heard Lexicon and myself talking about across the year, here, and here, at many venues across Bangkok and also in webinars. We don't usually get time to go deep into the topic at those things. So today, what I'd like to do is to tell you a little bit more about storytelling, the philosophy behind it, how we use it for marketing, and how it can fit into your marketing department. So let me hand over to my colleague Justin, who'll give you a quick 101 of what storytelling is. Justin.
Thank you, David. So if you know Lexicon and you know David, you know that we're all about storytelling here. But you can't just go telling stories willy-nilly. You need a structure. So what we're going to do today is talk about the structure that we use, right? And the structure we use is based on the hero's journey. Yeah.
So what is this new radical millennial concept you've got here, Justin?
So I came up with it yesterday. Yeah, I wrote it.
Sweet.
Now the hero's journey is timeless. We all know the hero's journey. It works in any kind of story. It works in a classic novel. It works in a movie. It works in an episode of Rick and Morty, and it can work for your marketing.
Absolutely. Storytelling is the oldest thing that humans do. We are storytelling animals. We dream in stories. We have our desires and our wishes and our hopes and our aspirations in stories. Nations are stories. Religions are stories. The earliest cavemen drew stories on the wall to try and make sense of their place in the universe. Storytelling is hardwired into the human experience. So if you can tap into that primal urge of all of us as humans to tell stories, you can truly resonate with your target audience. Shame?
Chamai, chai, yeah, very beautiful. I'm tearing up here.
Thank you.
A little bit. As David said, storytelling is something that's innate in us. We all instantly recognize the hero's journey as good storytelling, and why that's important for marketing is because there's so much competition these days for people's attention, right? The concept of content shock, right? There's so much going on that how do we stand out? Well, how we stand out is with the storytelling structure. So let's get into the details here, right?
Okay.
So we've got 7 steps. Let's go through them one by one and explain how you can start applying them today. Sound good?
I'm ready.
All right, step 1, the hero, right? Every story starts with a hero. At the beginning of the story, they're a somewhat ordinary person living an ordinary life. And this is before we're gonna take them on a journey of transformation.
For example?
For example, Aladdin, right? He's a street wow, this is a good start. Aladdin, he's a street rat, right? I guess it's not really an ordinary life. It's not a great life, but he's comfortable in it, right? He knows his world. He knows how he operates within it.
He has an equilibrium.
Exactly. He has an equilibrium until the story kicks off. But we're going to save that for a little bit later.
So he's not yet a hero.
He's not yet a hero, but he is a character.
Okay.
All right, so we know who he is. Now this, how it relates to marketing, is you must always make your customer the hero of your story.
No doubt.
No doubt. I thought you were going to add something there. Apparently not.
Well, I think the only thing I would add to that is that this is not just Aladdin, and it's not just one story. Pretty much any story you can think of throughout history, it has a similar structure. Justin mentioned the hero's journey. That applies to Greek tragedy as much as it does to Shakespeare, as much as it does to 100-year-old books from Orwell or brand new movies. They all have a similar structure, and they all start with a hero because we can empathize and we can relate to someone who feels like us.
Right, and why you need to make your customer the hero of any marketing story is so that they recognize themselves in your story, right? They'll instantly see themselves, they'll go, hey, that's me, I need to pay attention, right?
Exactly. So that's character. So character, as it relates to storytelling, is in marketing terms a buyer persona, essentially. It is understanding your target audience. What's their demographics? How old are they? Where do they come from? What are their interests? What are their hobbies? Are they 30 years old? Are they 80 years old? You need to develop a sense of your character. Just like we could say Luke Skywalker is also kind of a street rat, a desert rat, I guess. He's in his early 20s, he aspires to be flying around the galaxy. There are his desires, his needs. So you observing this right now would be the hero of the story. Lexicon is to be your guide. If we're looking at you, the viewer as the hero of the story, it's probable that you're based in Bangkok, you're probably somewhere between 30 and 50, you're probably either the owner of a business or involved in marketing for a business. If I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments, but my guess is that that's most of the people watching us today. So as we go through each of these steps, we'll try to relate them back to you so you can understand the process that we use with our clients. So in summary, character is
important.
Character is important, yes.
I was going to ask you though, David. So you just mentioned our target audience. You explained who they are, what their situation is. But that's a lot of people, hopefully, right?
Hopefully.
So how do we boil that down into one character? How do we make one hero out of that target audience, which could be thousands of people?
Most companies have a core buyer persona that shares many characteristics. So in this instance, it's gonna be buyers based in Bangkok, but we need to dig into their pain points in more detail to truly get a sense of what it is they're looking for, which takes us on to step 2.
Step 2, the hero has a problem. This is where we introduce some conflict into the story. No story is a story without conflict, right? Aladdin would just stay a street rat. He would always be a street rat, and he'll be nothing but, I don't remember what Jafar says.
You are a worthless street rat. You were born a street rat. You'll die a street rat, and only your fleas will mourn you.
But we need conflict to kick off the story. This is the événement déclencheur, if you will, right? Okay, so the hero, are you laughing at my French? I'm trying to show off to the people here. Okay, the hero has a problem, right? So that's where we introduce conflict. If it's in a marketing sense, that's your audience's pain points. But if it's in a traditional story, this usually comes in the form of a villain. And this can be helpful in marketing too. You don't always have to do it, but we've seen many different brands successfully personify the villain, right? Okay, so if you're selling toothpaste, you could have the cavity creeps, right? We bore holes in teeth, right? That's a personified villain of a cavity.
Hopefully that's on the screen right now to
Yeah,
a little insight.
We'll show the people. Another famous ad that had a well-defined villain was the famous Mac and PC ads, where the PC was the old nerdy guy and the Mac guy was the cool guy. That's an example of personification of a villain. But we don't necessarily need to know, we'll have an image here for editing purposes.
Well, let's have a think about
Yeah.
it. Let's think about the storytelling in the kind of fictional sense for a moment here. So who are some of the famous villains throughout storytelling history?
We got Scar.
No doubt, Scar, bad boy.
We got Darth Vader.
Darth Vader, classic.
We got Thanos.
Thanos. And these are the personification.
Snap my fingers and eliminate half of that video.
So these are the personification of evil. These provide the antagonist of which the hero has to fight against. And as you were saying, Justin, sometimes antagonists are really easy to understand. If you've got tooth decay, it's tooth decay. It's the pain that's causing you to have pain. But often in marketing, it's more abstract than that. So you observing this video right now, your problem might not be as tangible as Darth Vader or tooth decay.
Darth Vader has tooth decay?
I'd imagine so. It's probably had to clean your teeth under that.
Right. How does he even, we're gonna go off the rails here, how does he even eat?
I think he has pipes. He goes into that big chamber thing.
And they feed him intravenously?
I expect
But
so.
he definitely has tooth decay.
Definitely.
Darth Vader, brush your teeth.
Yes, it's one for Colgate. All right, so when we can't define the villain so concretely like that, we have to think about, in marketing terms, the pain points. And pain points can be external, internal, and philosophical. But what do those words mean, Justin?
Okay, so an external problem. Give me a situation here. Give me what's our product? What are we selling?
We are selling life insurance.
Life insurance. Okay. So your external problem is that you don't have life insurance, right? You have a family, your family's not protected, you don't have life insurance. Your internal problem would be that this makes you feel worried about your future, right? So you don't have life insurance, that means you're unsure what'll happen to your family if, heaven forbid, something happens to you, right? The philosophical way to look at this would be, okay, well, I deserve an insurance broker that I can trust. I deserve somebody who will give me a fair deal on insurance to ensure that those other problems are addressed, to ensure that my family will be safe.
Okay, that makes sense.
How many times did I say the word insure there?
It's the keyword. If that was SEO, you'd be ranking number one.
That's right, I am an SEO writer too.
So, external, internal, philosophical. These are traditional pain points when it comes to marketing. If you've been building a persona, we've got the demographics now, and now we've got the pain points. Again, you are the hero of this story, dear viewer. Our guess is that you're observing this video because your external pain point is you're not having enough business right now. It's COVID, the world of marketing is changing, digital is complicated. How do you put together videos and articles on a website and social media and your personal branding while speaking at events and your newsletter? It's a lot to handle. So that's your external problem. What's the internal problem?
The internal problem would be that they have a great product or a great service and they're very confident in it, but they aren't necessarily confident in their abilities to market properly. That's not what they're focused on. They're focused on their core function.
Exactly. So they want to get it done, they just can't. And how it comes to philosophical issue is that they feel they deserve more. They have a great product. They should be number one in their field. They should be successful. Everyone should be talking about them. And you, as the hero, if you incorporate the plan we're about to show you, you can truly achieve that. You can position yourself as the guide who addresses the pain points of your own audience and gives them solutions and makes them feel comfortable. This storytelling philosophy is 1,000,000 years old and it works. We use it every day and we'll keep telling you more about how that works as we get to perhaps the most important part of any story, which is the hero meeting their guide.
Yes, so step 3, the hero meets a guide. This is where you come in to help your clients. This is where we come in to help you. It's getting a little bit meta here, but this is the most important part of the story. Remember that your hero, your customer, they don't want another hero. They're just going to confuse the story. What they need is a guide, right? And you want to be the guide. You don't want to be the hero because the hero is not the strongest character in the story. As we've just discussed, the hero is unsure of themselves. They have all kinds of problems. The guide is usually the strongest character in the story, right? At the beginning, yes, until the hero, well, we'll get into that later. But think about this, you don't want to be Bilbo, you want to be Gandalf. Why? Gandalf is already a hero in his own backstory and he has all the answers, right? So in order to be a proper guide for your hero, you need to show empathy and authority, okay? Empathy, that's easy. I understand what you're going through. I know you're in a difficult situation. I understand your problems, right? Authority is I'm the person to guide you. Why? Because I've guided all these previous heroes in the past. So how that could relate to marketing is look at what I've done with my previous customers. Look at these testimonials. Look at these case studies.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is such a key point that I think many people miss. It is you are the guide and it's awesome to be the guide. It really is, as Justin was saying. At the start of the story, the hero is naive. They don't even know they have a problem. And if they do, they have no idea how to solve it. It's the guide who calls them to action. It's the guide who takes them on a journey. Whether that's Gandalf or Obi-Wan Kenobi or Hamish in the Hunger Games or the genie in Aladdin. These are the characters that truly create the story.
Do you have a Hunger Games kind of on your mind these days for some reason, David?
No?
Yeah, right.
No, I'm good. This is really a key point. So you've identified your hero, you know their pain points, but you need to show them that you're a trustworthy guide. And you do this by showing empathy and authority, as Justin said. Now this is easy for hero content. So for your website, it's pretty easy. You just make it clear in your text what it is you do and why you're qualified to do it. Could be logos from your previous clients, it could be your case studies. There's many ways for you to show it on a homepage and keep it simple. Same with a big hero video. So using a hero video that tells a story of your brand or your product, we can follow this process really easily. Where it gets a little bit more meta and complicated is the day-to-day, always-on social media application of this concept. The great thing about marketing now, which is different from 100 years ago, is that you can speak to this target audience constantly. You don't only have one shot on a billboard or one shot with a TV advert or one shot with a newspaper advert. you can constantly be telling the story and vignettes of your story, little pieces that you can build to the master narrative. So empathy in that situation is creating content like this, which shows you, the audience, that we understand what your pain points are, we want to help you, and we're going out of our way to be helpful. So it's thought leadership, it's the personal branding, it's the persona of your team and your company, it's your values, it's your CSR projects. These all show that you're a caring company that wants to help. You're inviting people to come towards you. And your authority is your previous work. It is your case studies, your testimonials, your previous successes. It's your affiliations with other reputable organizations. All of these things convince the hero to come on the journey with you. Ultimately, that is your client onboarding with you, giving you money because they trust you because of what you've done before. So I think I got a bit serious there.
Yeah. Again, getting emotional here. But I think you've done a great job of demonstrating how Lexicon demonstrates empathy. That's through content like this, showing that we understand what our clients are going through. A lot of the work we do shows that. But how do we show our authority? What are some examples of Lexicon's authority?
So Lexicon's authority is in the, at this point we're 6 years old. We've worked with hundreds of clients. We've got great case studies, and we can, when we present to a client, we can show our portfolio, we can show our case studies, and you don't need to trust our words. You can see in our actions that we've done it all before. So as with Obi-Wan Kenobi, we know from the prequels that he's been an adventurer, he's done it all before. We are your Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right, you'll probably be seeing David at a Chamber of Commerce event sometime soon, and he'll probably be speaking with authority.
Indeed. And one of the great things about a guide is they already know the journey because they have a roadmap, because they have a plan.
Right.
Step 4.
That brings us to step 4, the plan. Okay, so we've demonstrated empathy and authority, we've set up our hero, he knows that we're a guide, but why would the hero follow us on a journey? For this, we need to give them a plan, and this plan needs to be clear, there needs to be a clear end goal, and a roadmap, as you said, for how we're going to get there. All right, now, what does this kind of plan look like for Lexicon? What do we offer our heroes?
So we have a 10-step plan. Everything we do is steps-based, it seems, but we have a 10-step plan that shows our process from beginning to end.
Wait, so we're at step 4 in the hero's journey here. And now we're involved in this step 4, we have our 10-step process plan.
10 steps is part of step 4.
Boom, all right, Carry on.
Hopefully that's not too confusing for
Clear
you
as
all.
mud.
So our 10-step plan is, if the storytelling framework is the software, this is the hardware in a way. This is the process that we follow, that everything is built into. So we start off with our clients by working on strategy. We don't do anything until there's a strategy. And as part of developing strategy, we help them to articulate their brand. What is their tone of voice, their visual style, who are their key people, what are their key services? Then we look at their audience, as we do with this process. Who are they talking to? What are their pain points? Once we figured that out, we get into messaging for the year, the visual style, a social media plan, targeted advertising, outreach partners, and analytics. So all of this is the proven process that we use with our clients. Whatever industry you're in, you probably have a similar process that you have with your clients, from engaging to onboarding to reporting at the end. So that's how we work. I'm sure you'll have your own way of doing things too.
So an important part of the plan stage, okay, let's step out of the 10 steps and back into the 7 steps. An important part of stage 4 here is to make the end goal nice and clear. So an example that I use when we talk about this, when we give presentations on this, is John F. Kennedy. So imagine if instead of John F. Kennedy saying, we're going to put a man on the moon, imagine he had said, we're going to have a very competitive space program. It just doesn't have the same ring to it, right? There's no clear end goal. So for our clients, what would you say the clear end goal is for them?
So we're going to take them from 0 to hero
That's the hero's journey in a nutshell,
It
right?
is indeed. So we want them to go from not being able to connect with their audience to connecting with their audience and all of the benefits that come with that. So you might not have a strong social media presence, but what we want to do is engage you constantly with your audience. Rank first on Google, have your audience talking about you, have them inquiring to you and ultimately buying from you. That is what success looks like. And that is what this formula we're discussing here, if done properly, you will be able to do.
And
trailed
succeed, yes.
Trailed off at the bit.
No, I like that. You had some very clear goals. It all depends on who the client is and what they're trying to achieve, right? But that's how we define the goal. Okay, if it is increase audience, then that's, so if it's increase sales, but we need firm targets and we need to make a plan for how we're going to get there.
Exactly. So you as the audience, the plan for you is contact us, we'll work on the strategy for you, and then we'll go through each of those steps, which ends with measurement of success in analytics at step 9.
It is interesting how you're always kind of one step ahead.
Oh.
You're setting it up already, right? Because the next step, step 5, is the all-important call to action.
Exactly.
Right? The hero will not act unless you ask them to do so, right? So in a marketing sense, if you believe in your product, you believe in your services, then make your call to action loud and clear. You don't need to be ashamed of it. Put it all over your website. Put it all over your social media posts, right? Buy now, sign up now, schedule an appointment. Okay, there are 2 kinds of call to action here. The ones that I just listed are direct calls to action. But there's another way to do that with the transitional call to action, right?
So direct call to action is a full commitment, right?
Is a commitment, yeah. At the very least, you need to do something right now. All right, a transitional call to action would be more like, we're offering you something, okay? So it'd be something like, okay, read this blog, read our white paper, here's a case study, here are testimonials, all right? An interesting way to look at it is a direct call to action, right? Buy now, call now, schedule an appointment. That would be like saying, will you marry me? To your date, right? Which is a bit strong. Okay, so maybe you don't necessarily want to do that on the first date, in which case you can say, read our blog, read our case studies, check out our previous work.
Let's learn a little bit more about you though.
Right, that's like saying, hey, do you want to go on another date? I feel like I just asked you on a date now. That's weird.
So your blogs could be like first base.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
how do we get deeper here?
Probably need to be a bit careful with this, but
Yeah.
ultimately marriage, nice and clean, is the goal. We want.
So that's, marriage is a home run now.
Marriage is a home run, winning. So as Justin said, I think this is analogous to marriage and dating. It's the customers they're not always ready to buy. They might see a special offer that you've got, they really like the deal, they're interested, but they need to learn a little bit more. They need to see the things you mentioned earlier, which will be the case studies. So make sure that there's both direct and transitional calls to action on your website. So buy now or learn more, or buy now or check out our blogs, buy now, meet our team. Keep people, if possible, in that loop until they're ready to commit.
So David, based on what you just said, would you say that websites are still important, right? Because can you really house all of these calls to action, all of this information on social media? Does it make sense? Or do you really need a website to tell the full story?
100% need a website still. Social media is great for what it is, which is small vignettes, little stories about what your company's doing. The day-to-day updates, maybe some promotions every now and then, but the newsfeed passes quickly. So if you're not paying attention, you'll miss a lot of information. Your website is the actual book of your story. It's where all the key information is. It's your contact information, it's your key people, it's your service lines, it's your promotions, it's your company values, it's testimonials, case studies. All of that needs to be on your website. Plus, your website is probably what's going to get you to rank first on Google, which is very important for so many leads that come through. So I think websites are going nowhere. We encourage most of our clients to produce blogs and thought leadership content also, because that can be turned into all sorts of other content. We could take this video, make it into a 10,000 word blog, I guess it would be. It would be very long if we transcribed this.
I think actually if you go to our website, you might find out that this is already a blog.
Oh, futuristic. But it could also be quote images, infographics. You can do a lot with the written content. So written content will always be important, and that needs to live on your website, because written content is not good for social media. People want visuals, they want engaging videos like this, possibly. So the website's not going anywhere. And in terms of call to action, absolutely. social media itself is a call to action. Very little buying is done on social media. You take you from social media to the website, to a service page or to a blog or to somewhere else. So,
Right.
great question. Thank you,
Yeah,
Justin.
and that's, again, your website is where all of your authority lives, right? That's where they can go to get the full story, to make sure that you are indeed a guide worth following. But we're already there. They're already following us. We've called them to action. They're on board. That brings us to what? Did you?
Well, can you show us what these direct call to actions look like?
Yeah, okay. Buy now, sign up, schedule an appointment, or maybe read a blog, or maybe read a white paper. Well, this is weird.
How did you do that?
Yeah, it's amazing. I have magical powers because I'm a guide.
He's a guy. True story. All right. So once the hero has met the guide, they've gone on a journey. They're now in a new position. There's a new equilibrium.
But before that, though, there is a little element that we need to include in every story, right? And that is step number 6, avoiding failure, right? So if we don't know what failure looks like, then we have nothing to contrast our success with, right? So this is not something that we necessarily want to dwell on too much, but the failure portion of the 7-step story structure is kind of the salt in the recipe, right? You put too much salt, it'll spoil it, but just the right amount will make it nice and tasty, right? So we need to show the hero what happens if they don't follow us, the guide. So for our heroes, what does failure look like? What happens if they don't follow Lexicon?
Okay, so we know who the guide is. It's us. You're the hero. Come with us on the journey. Good things are going to happen. But if you don't, you're going to miss out on all of this fun storytelling content. Your audience isn't going to see who you are. They're not going to learn about your exciting new products or your insights that you have to offer. Your business may not be as successful as it could have been if you don't go on a journey with us. COVID's coming around the corner too, so even worse things might be coming. So if you don't yet have an online presence, whether with us or without us, Mordor may be waiting.
The Dark Lord is gonna take over.
Indeed.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll edit that out.
I don't know, I think we could get Sauron
At the top of Mahanakorn.
just between those two buildings.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm all paranoid that the Dark Lord is watching. Okay, so that's a very nice little sketch of what failure would look like. Now this brings us to the final step of the 7-step storytelling framework. That's a happy ending, right? We end in success. We've taken our hero, they were ordinary, they may have had some problems, then they had some serious problems, they've followed us, and now they're transformed. They're a completely different person now, right? We've taken Neo, or Mr. Anderson, who was a boring office worker, and now he's Neo, the savior of humanity, right? We've taken him into a whole new plane of existence, right? Okay, we've got Luke Skywalker, he's now a Jedi. Yes. Yeah, we've taken Aladdin, he's now getting married to Jasmine. Pretty good score, Aladdin, right? So we've taken our hero, we've transformed them. This is a happy ending. What does this look like in marketing terms? What does it look like for our hero?
So in the simplest of terms, marketing is about people knowing what you do and having a positive association with you. This approach, combined with our 10-step marketing strategy approach, it guarantees success. Like if you have an interesting story to tell, you're definitely going to reach your audience. If you've got a deep sense of who that audience is, what they need from you, what you do, and you can really do it, you can't fail. You're bringing together a need and a want with a solution, which is you. So ultimately, whatever your business dreams are, you can achieve them. This is about bringing in new clients. This is about satisfying existing clients and making sure they know what you do as your business evolves. This approach isn't new. What's new is the technology. So marketing hasn't changed in 100 years, 200 years. You still need all of these things. You need a sense of brand and a sense of who the audience is, and good messaging and good visuals and the right medium. But in previous years, the medium was analog. You weren't able to be in the face of your target audience. But now if you're on LinkedIn, which I hope you are, you have a billboard in front of your customer every single day and it costs you nothing. Like, what are you doing if you're not taking advantage of that? We can make sure that billboard is the most engaging thing on the screen of your target audience. Whatever your brand is, whether it's a professional services brand or a retail company or an NGO, people don't want to be bored on social media. Social media is a fun place to go to hang out. So your content has to be native to that, which means you have to tap into these primal storytelling needs of your target audience. You've got to entertain them. You've got to make them feel something. You need to make them passionate about you and what you do, and to be true fans and engage with you over the long haul. Now, sometimes this is very direct, which might be your customer sees your product, they click on the website and they buy what you're selling. For retail, that's the customer journey. It's very easy. But where this model especially excels is with professional services. Because professional services, whether you're a lawyer or an accountant or a tax advisor, the buyer's journey is non-linear, it's complicated. People maybe make that decision every 1 year or 2 years to change their provider. So in the short term, all you can really do is to prove you know their pain points and always be there waiting to take them on their journey. In the meantime, you will see a rise in your engagement, in your followers, and when you go around the city, you'll see people talking about the stories that you're telling and how they're doing. And that's when you truly know that you are having success with your storytelling.
Bravo, David, going deep there.
Thank you.
For the folks at home, should we give them a quick recap? Because we're now at the end of our 7-step framework.
I think we should.
So how about this? I'll just go through the steps and then you give a quick recap of how that relates to the audience at home and their hero's journey with us. All right?
Good plan.
Step 1, the hero. Step 2, the problem. Step 3, the hero meets a guide. Step 4, the guide gives them a plan. Step 5 calls them to action. Step 6 helps them avoid failure. 7 ends in success.
Okay, so
1 sentence each.
character, hero, you. Problem, marketing world is changing, need help, not enough customers. 3, guide, lexicon, storytelling solutions, 10 steps is the plan. So your plan is follow our 10-step solution to success. Call to action, buy now. Read more. If you don't go on this journey, you might not be as successful as you could be. You might not achieve your potential. If you do go on the journey with us, your journey ends in success with a great reputation, more customers, more web traffic, more engagement on your social media, and overall you enjoying your own marketing more than before, because it doesn't have to be so boring. Incorporating storytelling, it's not only good for us as an agency, it's good for you because it's way more fun than just boring content no one wants to read, which is what too many people still do.
Boring content that nobody wants to read and I don't want to write. Okay. So that brings us to a close here. Always remember, you're the hero, we're your guide, but also your customer is the hero and you're their guide.
Indeed, and if you need any help on your journey, remember, we're here to guide you. We're here to help. So at Lexicon, we consider ourselves to be your marketing team. We've got many departments working together, from strategy, where Justin resides, through to the social media team. We've got the graphics team who work on branding and design, the video team who work on projects like this, as well as drone, illustrations, animations. We've got the tech team who work on websites and apps and all sorts of matrix-based stuff that I don't even understand. But for you as a customer, you'll work with one single contact point who'll work with all these teams individually. So we'll develop a strategy for you, we'll execute that strategy for you, and you can focus on your core business, doing what you do best. Let us tell your story for you.
Yeah, we do it all in-house. We're your marketing team. We're Lexicon. Respect.
Thank you for listening.
All right, thanks, David. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.